Recently, I have decided to create a new app from scratch, my indie side project as people call it these days. After creating a new project in Xcode, I realized that I haven't done it for a really long time. So in this video, I would like to talk about setting up a new project and share my process. Let's get started. Before we actually create a new project, there is this interesting Apple article or website about planning your iOS app. I highly recommend you to check it out. There's a lot of interesting information about starting a new project and basically working on your app. So where to start, all of the necessary tools. If, for example, if you're a beginner or you never actually created a new app, this is a source or a website that you should definitely check. Also about Swift and also Objective-C, which language to choose or which technology to use with UI or the UI kit. So I highly recommend you to check it out. Also the human interface guidelines. This is something that you are probably familiar with, but yeah, you should definitely check this every now and then because Apple is keep updating this website. So you have to be up to date. You already know that to build an app for the iOS, you need to have an Xcode. But before installing it through the App Store, I highly recommend it to use the Xcodes.app because you can just download whatever version of the Xcode you would like to have. And also it's not automatically updating because for me, I made this mistake many times and my Xcode has been accidentally or overnight, not accidentally because I checked it and wanted to have automatic updates. So my Xcode has been updated. With this app, you are in control which version you would like to install, and you can also have multiple versions, which is really important when you are testing this in different environments. Even for the beginner, if you will just use one Xcode, I highly recommend you to install it. It also have additional features like faster unzipping of the Xcode, so it is really fast. Okay, let's open Xcode. Let's create a new app. I still don't have a name for my app, so I will just use a code name. We can change this later, that's fine for now. For a theme, you can just not select this, you can just leave it as it is, or you can choose your personal theme, so you will be able to upload your app to your phone. That's the same for the organization, just type whatever. And for the interface, this is important here, to use SwiftUI or the UI kit. Of course, right now we are trying to use the SwiftUI as much as possible, or you basically should try to use it as much as possible because it is much simpler, easier, and Apple is also pushing it. But not everything is possible in SwiftUI, and sometimes you need to use UI kit. Both of them operate interchangeably, and it's really easy to. And it is really easy to use both of them in the same project. What I don't like about SwiftUI at this point is all the navigation and also the stability of SwiftUI. It's really hard, so I prefer to use the UI kit for pushing views and also creating objects and models and everything. So in this case, I will choose storyboard. So by default, we'll have the storyboard, which we'll remove after creating a project, but yeah, this is how it will go. You can of course choose the SwiftUI and just operate purely using the SwiftUI. Language is of course Swift. We can include the tests, or if you are not about to write any, you can just remove them. I will keep it checked. For the source control, we would like to use Git, and you could create it later, but yeah, why not? We can just check this. And let's hit create. Okay, let's start by actually removing the storyboard, because as I said, we don't want to have the storyboard. For the scene, we need to also create the actual window and actually create the root view controller. In this case, I will show you how you can actually present this using the SwiftUI. You can just pass the SwiftUI view to the UI hosting controller. So we have the window here. Let's create a UI window using the window scene. And the root view controller, so our main view controller. Using the UI hosting controller, okay, we need to import Swift UI, I forgot about this one. And using the UI hosting controller with the root view, we can just pass like the text here, hello. And don't forget to make this one visible. So it shows the window and makes it the key window. We also need to change our plist file. Go here to our project, select the target, info, and here we need to find our application scene manifest, the configuration, the first item, and yeah, remove the storyboard name. And now, yeah, we can run it. And we have the hello from the Swift UI. So we have created our basic new project. Now let's go to the Git and see what's going on there. So because when we create a new project, we check this check mark to create a new Git repository. Right now we have our repository, we have a bunch of changes because we have this initial commit. It has been created when the new project has been created. And yeah, we could commit all of this. I use the lazy Git as my main client, also with the terminal. Usually when I use Git, I use the terminal and with the help of this lazy Git application, which easily can help you to like add new files or see all of the changes. But yeah, before we will commit this, we need to add the gitignore file, because right now we don't want to commit some of the files. Let's go to the gitignore.io. Here we can just type Swift and you can create a gitignore file. So as you can see, we don't want to commit like the build folder, the derived data. We could also exclude some of the dependencies like the cartridge. There's like a lot of things that we don't want to keep inside the Git history. So let's copy this and let's create our gitignore. Okay, we can commit this. Let's remove the storyboard. After creating a project and having the Git installed, I always like to init the Gitflow. So the Gitflow is the branching model that involves feature branches and multiple primary branches. So basically what it does is that you can, each new feature will be on a different branch, and the Gitflow is like helping you to manage this. You can easily open a new branch or the feature using the Gitflow. After we'll finish, you can just close it. So basically this is like a little helper. You don't need this. You can just do it like everything from your terminal. So this is just like addition. And if you don't have Gitflow, you can install it using the brew. Just brew install Gitflow. Okay, I already have the Gitflow, so let's init this inside this project. And by default, it will just ask you about which branch you would like to use. I just use the default ones. For the next release, the develop, the feature, release, hotfix, and support. And yeah, that's all. Inside the lazy Git, you can just use the shortcut I, and now you can just like start new feature or then release, After starting new feature, you can just like provide the new feature name, and you can also like close it from here. It is really helpful. I highly recommend you to use it. Okay, we have our Git setup right now. Let's add it to the GitHub and let's push this. Create a new repository. Make it private. You can also add gitignore from here. As far as I know, this is like the same. They use the same template. So yeah, you can also do it from here. Let's create repository. And here you can, if you don't have the repository yet, we already have, so we can just like, we already have the main branch. So we basically need to add the origin. And yeah, we need to like push this. And now we have it inside the GitHub. The next thing that I will add are dependencies. You basically have a couple of options like the Cocoapods. I think that it was the first one for iOS. You can easily install it by installing the first, you need to install the gem Cocoapods and then create the pod file and add all of the dependencies and then just type pod install. It is really simple dependency manager. I kind of don't like it. I had like a lot of issues with this like in the past with compiling, but it is still a viable option. The dependency manager that I like much better is the cartridge, because cartridge is basically like building those dependencies and keep them as frameworks. Especially now, it will build the platform independent XC frameworks, which is like really important for the new Apple Silicon. As always, there are pros and cons. The main advantage of using cartridge is that it will speed up your development because all of the dependencies will be built. The disadvantage is that after you will build it and the new Xcode will be released and the version of the Swift will change, usually, at least for me, I was unable to build them with the ABI stability with the previous compatibility. So usually when the new Xcode came, I had to rebuild all of the dependencies, which is unfortunately a little inconvenient. The third option is the SPM, which is the Swift Package Manager, which is built into the Xcode. Which I think is a way to go right now, if of course all of the dependencies that you would like to use have the SPM support, because not all of them have. I think that nowadays most of them should have, but in the past it was not that popular. SPM was not that popular. So in this project I will be using SPM, and at this point I know that I want to use at least one dependency, which is Lottie. Lottie is a cross-platform library for animations. So I definitely would like to use this one. In order to install it, just copy the link from the browser, go to Xcode, search, and you will see the dependency. You can specify the version, the branch, or the exact commit or the version. Yeah, let's switch this to up to the next major version. So we'll have all of the version up to the 5, because when they will release the 5.0, it will probably have like a breaking changes, so we need to update with caution. So let's hit the add package, and yeah, let's add the package as our dependency. So we have 4.1.2, which is the latest release. So I don't like to have like many dependencies. I will not be using an external networking library for this, like Alamofire or anything like this. I like to keep it lean, and yeah, at this point I know that I will be using Lottie, so that's why I added it. And yeah, as for the third-party dependencies and libraries, I will definitely need something for crash reporting and tracking some bugs. I'm still not sure which one to choose. I was thinking between the Crashlytics and Sentry. I heard a lot about Sentry, so I would like to give it a try, but I have still like not decided yet. I was using the Crashlytics in the past, like way before Google actually bought them. And yeah, I thought that this may be like the best solution here, but I still don't know if Google is trustworthy. So I will need to think about this. Next thing that I will install is the SwiftLint. Basically, SwiftLint will enforce you, or it will detect all of the code smells, I think, and yeah, it will help you while developing your app. I already have SwiftLint, so I don't need to do this, but yeah, you can just install it using brew. Just type brew install SwiftLint. You can also use CocoaPods or Mint. There is this interesting presentation, so you can check it. There are over 200 rules, and you can check them here. Some of the rules I will disable, but I will show you this in a second. Right now, let's add the SwiftLint to our Xcode project. We need to copy this one and go to the project, build phases, and yeah, let's create new script phase. Let's name it SwiftLint. And let's pass it here. This one, the first one, is that if you have installed this on the homebrew on the Apple Silicon, the directory is different from the homebrew. That's why you need this. If you are on Intel or you don't use homebrew, I think that you can just like remove this. Also, you would like to uncheck this one based on the dependencies analysis, because in this case it will enforce the script to run each time. And yeah, let's build the project. And yeah, as you can see, there are some of the violations. The SwiftLint is just screaming at us, and we can disable some of the rules. For example, this one, the line length, you can keep it, but yeah, I usually disable this one. To disable a rule, we can do this inside the code. We can just disable a specific rule, or we can just like disable all for like the section of the code and then just like enable it. We can also create a configuration file and just disable some of the rules like indefinitely. Let's create this. Let's copy this file name. And let's disable some rules. Let's disable the line length, and also let's disable the identifier name. It's just throwing when your name is an error if your variable is, for example, just I. So inside a for each or inside a for loop, you cannot use I, which I don't like, so I will just disable it. Yeah, as you saw, those have gone. There are still some the white space violations, but we'll get rid of this when we'll inside the SwiftFormat. Speaking of SwiftFormat, this one is next. So SwiftFormat is basically like reformatting your Swift code. It is really useful when you are working in a team and you don't want to like argue about which code style you would like to follow. You can just install SwiftFormat, use a couple of the rules or like the basic rules that are here, and your code will be reformatted each time you will, for example, commit your code. There are 2 or maybe even 3 different types of like invoking the SwiftFormat. I will show you 3 of them. I use basically just 2, but yeah, you would like to check it out. As always, you can install it using brew. Brew installs SwiftFormat. So the first one is similar to what we did inside the SwiftLint. Just copy this one, go to the phases, build phases, add a new script phase. Let's name it SwiftFormat. Also uncheck them based on dependency analysis. And also don't forget to copy this. So right now, when we will build the project, Command and B, as you can see, the code has been reformatted. So if, for example, we'll add a couple of new lines here, Command B, the code would be reformatted. Nope. Okay. Some of the we did not specify the Swift version. Let's specify, because without specifying it, some of the formatting rules are disabled. There is a config file. Yeah, this one. We need to add the Swift format. We need to specify the Swift version. Let's create this file. Right now it's 5.7. And let's build this once again. Yeah, we don't have any other warnings. And yeah, the main disadvantage of this, let's build this, Command B, and it has been reformatted. But right now, if I would like to go back, so Command plus Z, the history is gone, basically. I cannot, when I'm like coding and I will just compile the project, all of my changes inside the editor will be gone. So I will not be able to use the undo or redo. So that's obviously not a great. So the second thing is that you could add the pre-commit hook, which will basically run SwiftFormat each time you will commit something to the repository. So yeah, let's do this right now. There is this GitFormat stage, this additional library, but I just would like to use this script, which is much simpler and also do the trick. So we basically need to use the git to get the things that has changed and call the Swift format and add it to the git. Go to git, hooks, let's add this. We could also like check if there's like a version, if the Swift format is installed, but yeah, we can just copy this. Also, this one is using a different Swift format. We just have the Swift format without the dash. So let's save it. Don't forget to make this executable. And yeah, just go back. Now let's add some new lines. You can add it to the git and commit. And as you can see, the new lines are not here. So the git hook is really nice, but if, for example, when you are just like working and you would like to clean up all of the mess like right away, there is this really nice extension, which is called the Swift format for Xcode. You can install this as usual using brew. After you will install this using the brew and open the Swift format extension, there is like a couple of things that you need to do. You need to go to System Preferences, open the extensions and select the Xcode source editor and make sure that it's checked, and also relaunch the Xcode. After you will do this, you can go back to Xcode, and there is this inside the editor, Swift format. You can just format the whole file. Let's do this. Let's add a couple of new lines, editor, Swift format, and format the file. And as you can see, the file has been reformatted. Also, right now, the Command Z or back button, it is working. You can just like go back and the whole file is there, like of the previous changes, which is really, really helpful when you are working or experimenting with the code and you would like to clean up. You can just do this. I also, as you probably saw, I have a shortcut, Command P, to quickly reformat the code. You can do this by going to key bindings and try to find print first, because at the beginning the Command P is assigned to printing, but yeah, you probably don't want to print anything, so you can just like remove this and then try to find the Swift format and format file. You can just assign the Command P. You can also assign this for the selection. If you, for example, would like to select something like the part of the code or like the whole file using the Command A and then just Command P to reformat. Next thing that I would like to do is to disable the AppDelegate and create the new one, because by default, each time you will run the tests, it will go through the AppDelegate and it will basically like invoke the whole app, which is not ideal. So yeah, let's create a new file, main.swift. We can basically just copy this and modify a little bit. think that we need to import the UI kit. This is the same, so I think that we can just like get rid of this. And when there is like the XC test case, we can just like return nil, and otherwise we can just like return the AppDelegate, which is this one, because we already have the AppDelegate. And we need to remove the main attribute because we have the main right now here. Without this main file, we can just say that this is our main. So if we'll build this once again, it will work as always. But for the testing, if we'll run the tests, let's see this one. Let's leave a breakpoint here inside the main. And let's run our test example, which is empty, but it will invoke the tests. As you can see, we are here, we'll go here, and we return nil, and we are good to go. So it all works as expected. So right now, each time you will run your unit tests, it will just, when it will go to the AppDelegate, it will just return nothing. So the main application will not be started, and you can just test the parts of the app that you would like to test. And for the UI tests, it will just work as expected. It will just go and run the whole app. Next one, the SwiftGen. It will generate all of the assets and resources to make them type safe to use. So if you are using strings or like colors or even like files, like JSON files, for example, if you are using the Lottie animation and you don't want to like specify that this animation is this file, you can just generate this, and it's like type safe to use. I will show you this in a second. Installation, as always, you can use Homebrew or other tools that you use like Mint or CocoaPods. After you install the SwiftGen, you can just go to the terminal and type the SwiftGen config in it, and it will create the SwiftGen YAML file. So yeah, let's use the strings for localizable, and let's use assets. So first of all, let's add them. Let's add strings, new file. Let's add them, and also don't forget to add a new language here. Let's add Polish. And yes, don't forget to localize them. Okay, we have both of them. Let's add something. Same for this one. Also, let's add something to our assets. We have the hello image here. And now let's edit our SwiftGen file. And yeah, we'll use the template, the structured one. And for this one, we don't need this. Let's go back. And yeah, yes, let's use the assets.xc assets. Okay, right now we need to run the SwiftGen. And as you can see, we're executing the config file, and we created the new strings generated and XC asset generated. Now we need to open this and add this to our project. We don't need to copy this because we already have this inside our project. And XC assets, the same. Let's build this. And yeah, all good. Let's go to the scene delegate, and yeah, let's replace this hello with our new string, and let's build this. Let's change the language of this application. Let's rerun the app, And as you can see, we have a new greeting. We could also, let's add an image here. Let's create a vstack. UI image and assets. Okay, hello and image. Let's build this. And as you can see, we have our image. And yeah, the SwiftGen, I highly recommend you to use it. It is really, really helpful. That's all what I have for you today. As you saw, this is just a beginning. A few simple steps to get you started. If you have recently started a new project or are you about to start one, please share it in the comments section. I would like to hear from you and find out what are you up to. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing for more iOS videos. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.